Well, hi there, Internet. My name's Court, and welcome to my weekly Game of Thrones Season 7 review series. A quick word of warning, these videos will be full of spoilers, so tap out now if you haven't seen the episode yet. But now, Season 7, Episode 2, Stormborn. Let's do this. The episode opens with Daenerys and her small council in the war room at Dragonstone. She and Tyrion have devised a siege strategy for King's Landing, wherein the armies of Dorne, as well as Yara's fleet, will block King's Landing from trade routes, including food. Further, they will send the Unsullied and the Dothraki to take Casterly Rock. Dany then turns on Varys, telling him that he's served so many different kings that she can't trust him. He promises to serve her, and she promises that if he ever betrays her, she'll burn him alive. While the scene was well written, it seemed like a conversation that should have taken place last season. She's been on a ship with this dude for quite some time. Why is she only bringing it up now? Melisandre arrives at Dragonstone and tells Dany about Jon and the army of the dead, suggesting a Dany-Jon team-up. Tyrion vouches for Jon, and Dany asks him to send a raven inviting Jon, but also demanding that he bend the knee. At Winterfell, Jon reads this letter, and while Davos thinks it would be wise to consider, Jon asks Sansa's opinion, and she tells him it's too dangerous and likely a trap. At King's Landing, Cersei is imploring Randyll Tarly and the heads of a few other houses to betray the Tyrells and fight alongside the Lannisters against Dany's army. Tarly tells Jaime that his house is loyal to the Tyrells, but Jaime seemingly persuades him to switch sides, promising that once Lady Olenna is dead, Tarly can rule as Warden of the South. Qyburn takes Cersei into the bowels of the castle where a giant dragon skull is kept. He tells her they've been trying to come up with a solution to the whole dragon problem, and he unveils a wicked huge crossbow which he fires into the skull, shattering its, eye bone. At Old Town, Archmaester Marwyn and Sam examine Ser Jorah. Marwyn tells him that while the grayscale won't kill him for many years, his mind will be lost within 6 months, and that basically he has a day to consider suicide or Marwyn will send him to Valyria. As Grey Worm is about to be shipped off to war, he and Missandei essentially confess their love for one another and finally get it on to the best of their capabilities. Here's a thought. Maybe close the door first. Sam has been doing his research and he decides to try and cure Jorah essentially by painfully cutting the grayscale off the man's chest. It's gross. Like really gross. So far this season is going out of its way to make me puke. In a deliciously disgusting cut, we go from Sam cutting into Jorah's pussy flesh to a dude cutting into a meat pie. Arya is at a tavern and is greeted by none other than Hot Pie. And boy has he grown. They have some friendly banter, and he's surprised to hear that she's headed to King's Landing when Jon has taken Winterfell back from the Boltons. Arya was unaware of this, so obviously her plans change. Back at Winterfell, Jon receives Sam's letter about the mounds of dragonglass at Dragonstone and decides that he needs to go there after all. Nobody likes this plan. Even Lyanna Mormont is against Jon this time. Sansa reminds him that it's probably a trap, but Jon won't change his mind, and leaves the north in Sansa's hands. Jon descends into the crypt and is gazing at the statue of Ned Stark, quite a likeness, I must say, when Littlefinger approaches him and tells him of his love for both Cat Stark and Sansa. Jon grabs him by the throat, slams him against the wall, threatening to kill him if he ever touches Sansa. This was a nice little callback to the first season where Ned did exactly the same thing to Littlefinger after he had some questionable words about Cat. Jon and Davos head off to Dragonstone. Arya is camping in the forest when her horse starts whinnying in fright. Quickly, she's attacked by a pack of wolves before being confronted by the leader of the pack, who turns out to be, presumably, her direwolf, Nymeria, whom she set free back in the first season. They have a moment as Arya tells her she's going home to Winterfell, but then Nymeria and the pack walk away and Arya says, I guess it wasn't you. Now, I'm certain it was Nymeria. I recognize that face. My guess is that, for whatever reason, Nymeria and the pack will shadow Arya on her trek back to Winterfell, and will probably rescue her from some attack at some point. The last sequence is a bit of a mess. Yara, Theon, and their fleet are on the way to pick up an army when they are attacked by Euron. This whole battle is a bit of a... Like I said, it's a mess. It's so dark, the action is cut so closely and quickly, it's genuinely difficult to tell what's going on. I'm also really not liking Euron. While Joffrey and Ramsay were both evil, sadistic antagonists, Euron is a cartoon. When he jumps on the ship, he goes, "Rah!" It doesn't help that he looks exactly like Liev Schreiber as Sabretooth. In the end, 2 of the Sand Snakes are killed, while the 3rd, as well as Alaria Sand, are taken hostage. Euron gets the better of Yara and holds an axe to her throat, goading Theon into attacking him. Theon cowards out and jumps into the ocean. It's unclear whether or not Euron killed Yara, but I'm guessing he didn't. He can use her as bait for whatever army that is still loyal to her. The final shot of the episode is Theon floating away on some lumber. Maybe Gendry will pick him up. There was a lot of good in this episode, but that sea battle really didn't do much for me. Like the premiere last week, this one was still more setup than action, but I'm okay with that as there are only 5 more episodes to go. It's gonna get nuts. So those are my thoughts on Stormborn. What do you think? Did you like it better than last episode? Whatever your thoughts, hit the comments below and let's discuss. If you enjoyed this review, please smash that like button and give it a share if you really enjoyed it. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, you can do so by clicking the Courtshake logo at the bottom right of your screen. Game of Thrones reviews every Monday until the end of the season. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.